Okay, hi everyone. I told you as promised in class today that I would be sending you a video. I just gonna go over the assignment since I wanted to get in as much of the film, The Aggressives, as possible while we were in class and didn't want to take time away from it. But I also I like to walk you through assignments and not just kind of give you the assignment sheet without speaking it and kind of elaborating on it for you. So I'm going to share screen and we'll just talk to you a little bit about the next assignment. I know some of you are worrying about the assignment that's going to be due soon. And for those of you who may have missed my announcement in the last two classes, after hearing from you and sort of doing a little mini kind of mental health check-in with everyone, where I learned that many of you are experiencing sort of this mid to late semester transition stress and having a lot on your shoulders. That was partly why we watched the video in class today and coming back from the break. But also, I wanted to let you know, if you didn't already catch me saying it, that if you're struggling with a deadline for any of our assignments, I'm willing to work with you and accommodate whatever you need. But I do want the assignment deadlines to sort of try to stand and aim to try to meet them if you can, just to keep yourself from getting overwhelmed. If you are late on one and then the other one is coming up, I don't want it to suddenly be like you have 3 major assignments and then you have to add to it our weekly readings. And then any sort of in-class assignments or writing assignments for your participation grade that I have you do. I just don't want it to suddenly become unmanageable. So try to do what you can to pace yourself, but also know that I will extend deadlines and work with you. I just want to look out for you at the same time and urging you to try to stay with the schedule that I've come up with, because it is made that way to sort of pace you through the assignments. So that said, let's take a look at the next assignment. I'm going to share screen. We're going to look at this. Okay. So I'm excited about this assignment. I hope you will be too when you hear about it. It is called The Personal is Political essay. And we're going to be learning about the concept of the personal is political from one of the suggested readings that a classmate of yours is going to be presenting on. The concept was coined originally by Carol Hainish, but many feminist writers have sort of used it, and it is kind of a foundational concept, which we encountered even at the beginning of the semester when we were reading Bell Hook's work. And Hooks was talking about theory and action, and that theory is activism and theory is action. And so this is sort of a different version of that. It's around seeing that what is personal to us, what is our very lives are sort of like they have political sort of repercussions, and we are affected by a political position. So it is a lot about positionality, but it's also like thinking about our lives and our experiences as forms of knowledge. So I want to just start out by the assignment due date is Friday, April 15th, and you can turn that in printed in class to me or online over email. And I wanted to start out by talking about the concept of the personal is political, but I didn't talk about it in terms of Carol Hainish's use of the concept, because we are going to be learning about that from one of you. What I wanted to do is to draw our attention a little bit more to Audre Lorde's sort of elaboration on it. I'm going to take 1 second to close my door because my father is working in the other room, and it's a little loud as well. Start competing. Okay, so I'm going to read this aloud, but we're sort of going to read it together and then I will elaborate as well. So in The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House, the essay that we read a few weeks ago, Audre Lorde develops and complicates the concept that the personal is political by bringing terror over differences into the conversation. So you have to think about how Audre Lorde was starting to introduce what we might, what one might argue became this notion of intersectionality, but looking at and acknowledging and utilizing differences as strengths within movements. So being able to really face that, and this is a response to sort of white feminism and its dismissal of certain differences, but it's also more complicated than that as well, which we've already talked about in our class discussion. Lord argues that the feminist theoretical concept cannot, quote, begin to illuminate all our choices until we reach down into that deep place of knowledge and touch that terror and loathing of any difference that lives there to see whose face it wears. So this is a sort of call to feminist thought and call to feminist thought as action in trying to expand and render useful to more people this concept of the personal is political, because people, if we kind of go back to 70s white feminism, like white feminists were using this concept, but they were also like perpetuating the system of racism and not questioning it, not taking it on within the movement. So that's sort of what this is responding to. Lord calls us to reach for knowledge in a different way, to try to find a path toward knowledge within ourselves, one that requires that we come face to face with sources of terror and loathing. Counter to analytic logics, perhaps, and logics that locate knowledge outside of the self, Lord and other feminists make an important theoretical contribution by locating knowledge as being found and findable within the self. So that's what this whole assignment is about. And this is sort of drawing on Bell Hook's work and Audre Lorde's work, as well as many others' work, including Gloria Anzaldua's work, where that self knowledge is a place of legitimate knowledge within feminist theory and thinking. So Lorde validates self-knowledge, but warns readers of her theory that accessing and utilizing the personal or knowledge within the self should also be a process of finding and acknowledging. The personal as the political cannot reach its potential as a feminist concept unless we face the deep truths of our differences. So I want you to keep difference in mind, and whatever this means to you in mind as you're doing the assignment. This is sort of a preface to the assignment. I want you thinking about the concept and just letting it steep within you as you're coming to start the assignment. So come back to this, if possible, come back to this as you're starting to write the assignment, and keep Audre Lorde's sort of ideas as well as the ideas of others in your head as you're starting this. This idea should be or is the backbone of this political and personally relevant storytelling assignment. It should inform and be used as a tool by you to compose your essay. So that's the preface. Now about the assignment, you're going to write a 2.5 to 3 page essay. I also always say, if you want to go over the length, I'm always okay with it. I just want to give people a sort of idea of what to aim for those of you who might be struggling with the assignment or with the length. I give a couple of just stylistic guidelines here. I do want it to be in Times New Roman, double spaced, 12-point font, an MLA style citation. And this is just a note also because someone kindly brought it up. For the archival assignment that you're working on right now, that's due soon, I would like you to use MLA citation style for the material that you cite. So just kind of keep that in mind. We use that MLA like pretty much throughout the course. If you have any issues and you want to talk about MLA style or have any questions about it, I can certainly help you and we'll be glad to. So you're writing a 2.5 to 3 page essay in which you will explore and develop your own ideas in relation to the concept the personal is political. Essentially, you're going to write a personal is political essay inspired by your own self and life. That's the one part, okay? Inspired also by the concept of the personal is political and however you understand it at the present moment. And third, the feminist theory readings that we've encountered thus far in class. These are the core ingredients of the storytelling assignment you will concoct. And I'm using these terms deliberately, but think of it as a feminist spell of your own and combine them according to what is most important and urgent to you. So you need to use the feminist theory. You need to sort of bring your own life and your own self into this essay, because that's what it calls for. And also this concept of the personal as political. All three need to be in there, but how you sort of shape it is up to you. In other words, your creativity in making meaning for this assignment is welcomed and encouraged as long as the three basic elements are involved. So you're required to include, refer to, and incorporate into your essay this is another basic requirement, okay? You need to use 2 theoretical concepts from our whatever material that we've encountered throughout the semester. So these should come from at least 2 different essays. So don't just take, one essay by Susan Wendell and take 2 concepts from that essay and use that for yours. I would like you to at least choose 2 different concepts, right, from 2 different writers or theorists. And these should be things that we've discussed or read in class. And you're welcome, though, to incorporate something from one of the optional readings. It may be someone brought in an article that they presented on and you really loved the presentation and something stuck with you and you wrote it down. Feel free to take that, but refer to the actual reading itself. So in that case, if you really liked Judith Butler's work and you want to explore one of their ideas, then you would need to sort of turn to that source. Now, this is also just a random reminder that I'm going to throw in here. If I gave you one of my personal books for your presentation, and you've already made your presentation and you could please bring me back the book, I would really appreciate it. I just have to mention this while I'm remembering it, because I know I'll forget that I even gave the books out. And yeah. So with the Judith Butler example, that is a physical book. So you'll need to ask me to borrow that, and it's already with one of you has it. So just return that to me. But all of the other articles that are optional readings are all available on UB Learns. So if you really loved someone's presentation, maybe on the Disability Studies Week or whatever it is, and you didn't actually read the article, but you want to talk about a concept, just go grab the article there and take a look and pull out the concept that you need and want to use for the essay. So, okay. Next, I want you to consider this a personal essay, but of course, because we're talking about the personal is political, it's then a personal is political essay, in which you are going to apply your life. So these are different ways I want you to frame the assignment for yourself in case you're struggling, okay? This is a chance for you to apply your life to theory, or to apply theory to your life, and or to put your own spin on or further develop the concept of the personal is political. So you saw how Audre Lorde addressed the idea of the personal is political and theorized something new into it, and a needed component that it's missing. So you could attempt to say what the personal is political means to you, and then just bring other theorists that we've read this semester into it. You could say what you sort of think it needs that it's missing, and you could do what Audre Lorde is doing and what many other feminists are doing, and you can sort of theorize through this personal essay. Or you could just kind of try to take theory that we've read and connect it to your personal experiences. So you can decide sort of which way how you want to do this. It's open to that. At its core, this essay assignment is an opportunity for you to explore and develop a point of connection between you, your life, or your experiences, and the theories we have read. It may be helpful for you to get started by thinking about our class discussions and in general, which conversation spoke to you the most. So I would just say start there. When we were talking about feminist theory and labor, and we were talking about sort of invisible labor, domestic work, the public and private sphere and all of that, or when we were talking about sort of problems within our labor system, I know that class discussion was really, really intense and really important, and we ended up talking more about it because we needed more time with it. So if that discussion was the most urgent for you and felt like it spoke to you the most, then I would say, start there and bring the theory into it and do some storytelling, but theorize through your storytelling, or do your storytelling, but bring theory into it and interweave theory into your storytelling. Again, open, different approaches. This is a chance for you to explore and generate wisdom and meaning from the, quote, genuine conditions of your lives. Now, this was a Simone de Beauvoir quote, but that Audre Lorde included in this essay. But it really, I think, is something that relates to the assignment. So I really want you to be looking at the genuine experiences and conditions of your lives and connecting it with theory in this assignment. So you're going to use the feminist theory to help you explore and unpack meaning around these ideas, around the idea of the personal is political, around your own life. You're going to generate feminist theoretical thinking around life experiences, if that makes sense. At a basic level, if you are struggling with grasping this assignment, I would say take a feminist theoretical idea, just start with that, and think of the ways you connect with it. So if something stuck with you, bothers you, whatever, just grabs your attention, one line, even one idea, take it, isolate it from the article, and then just be like, well, what does this remind me of? What does this make me think of? How can I connect with this? What life experiences do I have that relate to this? So just start there, look at how you feel about it, what it makes you think about from your life and experiences. This essay assignment asks you to reach down into that deep place of, and I put self in there, knowledge that Lorde references, one that does not and cannot shy away from differences in our feelings toward them. So this might be a place for you to explore your own sort of terror in the face of differences, maybe. If you were going to use Audre Lorde's theory in the essay as your sort of one of your two feminist theory concepts. You can also use more than two, but I just want you to make sure you do two. Okay, one that does not and cannot shy away from differences in our feelings toward them in order to make meaning and draw connections between you, your body, and life and feminist theory. The theory we have read thus far in the course is there to help you access and make meaning from that deep place of knowledge. And my most sincere hope for this assignment truly is that it will provide you with an opportunity to use feminist theory to help you understand something about yourself, your life, or the lives of those in community with you. So really, I want you here to explore and use feminist theory to generate wisdom about your own life and your own experiences. And you can do that using a sort of theory first approach, where you start with a theory and bring in examples from your life or one example that you explore in depth. Or you can do an experience first storytelling, where you talk about an experience or your life or your identity, and then you just bring in the theory where it fits. So that's sort of, I think, the two mainstreams of this. But I also want to say that if you want to take a different creative approach to this, I'm open to it and I'd be excited. If you take a more poetic approach, I would say that it might just mean that you need to increase the length if your form is not really sort of filling the length requirement. So just keep that in mind. The essay is worth 10% of your final grade in the course. You're going to be graded based on your criteria fulfillment. Have you done all the three, included the basic elements? I also am going to be looking at your synthesis, how you're bringing together the elements of the assignment, and your applied use of the feminist theory. Are you thinking sort of like deeply about it? Are you engaging in a complex way with the ideas and in a personal way that is engaging with this idea of the personal is political, and the thoroughness and completeness of your essay and the ideas expressed in it? So, and then I've got my little work cited. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know. I did tell you, I'm going to do the stop share. I did tell you that I would try not to make this a long video, and I don't know how long it actually is, but I'm here. Just to remind you, I can still meet with you during office hours. I would say that we can do things by appointment as well over Zoom anytime you want to talk through things with me. So if you are struggling with the archival assignment and you want to run something by me, please do, and we can make an appointment. Lastly, about the archival assignment, while I'm thinking about it, I just want to let you know that there is that sort of research plan part of it. Everything is collected at once, so that's not going to be due in advance, especially because I'm trying to be more, I'm trying to be more accommodating in terms of the due dates and your schedules and your personal life. So when you hand in everything, just make sure that all of the components from the assignment sheet are present, including that whatever your research plan was. My goal with the research plan is I wanted to see what you did in terms of, I wanted to see the process. So as long as I'm able to see the process that you went through in some way to get information, to access the archive and to do what you were going to do, that should work for that. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. I think that's it. Have a great day. For those of you who are not in class or did not attend on Zoom today, I just want to also give some reminders about the readings that I already gave in class. So this won't pertain to all of you. But for Wednesday, we are reading, we have a New York Times article. I'm going to make sure it's posted as a Word document for you, or a PDF. But it is, what if instead of calling people out, we called them in? And this is Loretta Ross's article. Loretta Ross is a professor at Smith College. And I am taking out the Cal Keegan essay as well as the Patricia Hill Collins. I did that just for, we're not gonna be able to get to it. So if you want to read those on your own time, you absolutely may do so. But remember, we're talking about feminist theory and education on Wednesday. And the two other articles I do want you to read, one is Educating Women, a Feminist Agenda by Bell Hooks. I believe that's short. And then Suspending Damage, A Letter to Communities by Eve Tuck. It's really just a really good, important read, especially for those of you who are involved in any kind of research, or who are going to be pursuing fields where you're involved in research. It's kind of an Indigenous feminist perspective on research ethics. And I really like people to read it. And I think it's transformed my own understanding of research. And it's a feminist theory. So read those three, take away the other two. That's due for Wednesday. We watched the aggressives in class. I'm sorry if you weren't with us. I do have a little in-class, out-of-class assignment that I would like you to turn in Friday, and like at the beginning of class if you can, or close to it. That is responding to the incident between Will Smith and Chris Rock at the Oscars last night, because everyone is talking about it. It's in the media, and I would like for you to have the opportunity to talk about it. But I'm asking that you just write a couple paragraphs, like 2 paragraphs, responding to it using feminist theory, or using some idea or something we've discussed or something we've read from our class. I want you to put your feminist theory toolbox to use in analyzing that moment. And sort of also you could analyze the social media responses that sort of have proliferated during and after the moment. You may also link it to and connect it to the film, the documentary film, The Aggressives, if you want, in exploring possible differences between the concept of aggressiveness within butch femme communities and the concept of aggressiveness perhaps within other contexts, within patriarchal contexts. And the question is aggression different within different gender contexts and identity context? Or is aggression, what is aggression really? If we saw how aggression is sort of has been redefined in certain communities, but I think that there's more to think about there, especially if we think about it within the mainstream culture. What does mainstream culture think of as aggression? Is that different than the aggression that we saw in the film The Aggressives? And is that aggression in the term an aggressive or the aggressives, is that term an offshoot of masculinity or toxic masculinity that is proliferated in butch femme community, or is it something different? Just things to possibly think about and also respond to. You can decide however you want to. This is just sort of a reflection reading response. And I really do want to hear what you have to say about that moment, because I think you're critical thinkers. You have a lot of theory to work with. You're informed, you're intelligent. And while I've been reading a lot on social media, I really value what you what you think and your wisdom and knowledge. So I would love to hear from you, and that will go toward your participation grade as well. So any other questions, let me know. And I'm going to water my plants. I hope you have a great day. Bye. See you Wednesday.